My most successful launch yet, and it didn't make a single dollar. Why should I even listen to this? So I just want to say that with this type of situation, just because they're not paying with money doesn't mean they're not paying with time and attention. Don't fall into the trap like I have in the past of going, oh, well, I'm not asking for money for it, so that should mean it'll be easy to get people to come along to an event, even if it's just an hour long. I had 11 people show up out of 16, which is amazing, right? It's just, this is a lesson and it's helping you to become the person you need to be. I thought I was building a community event, but really it was building me into the kind of person who could hold it. I'm Tiffany Gilliland, your host of the Business Bravery podcast. I'm an Australian business and mindset coach and marketing service provider with 13 years of experience in online marketing. I help coaches sign clients and grow their business with more confidence and less stress using my Business Bravery framework. It's all about simple steps that actually work so you can build a profitable business that lights you up and feels sustainable. Before we dive in, I want to invite you to join me for Brave Coffee Connections, my free monthly Zoom gathering for coaches and service-based business owners. It's not another networking pitch fest. Instead, you'll connect through powerful questions, small group conversations, and a short visualization to set you up for the month ahead. These deeper connections often lead to collaborations, referrals, and even new clients. Find out more about this free monthly Zoom gathering at tiffanygstudios.com/connections. That's tiffanygstudios.com/connections. I'd love to see you there. In today's episode, I'm sharing the story behind my most successful coaching launch, the one that made me $0. I'll walk you through how focusing on community, not sales, helped me create real business growth and the lessons I learned from 4 failed launches that came before it. Now, who's ready for some business bravery inspiration? Let's dive in. Welcome, business owners, coaches, service providers to another solo episode of the Business Bravery podcast. And today I'm going to share with you the story of my most successful launch yet, and it didn't make a single dollar. Here's the thing, it wasn't supposed to. That wasn't the goal. The goal was to build a community and create connections and that kind of thing around my business, because in the long term, that's actually more valuable than one client here, one client there, that kind of thing, right? Because I want to create something different. So, for those of you who are wondering, oh, why, I want to make money, why should I even listen to this? So, I just want to say that with this type of situation, that people, just because they're not paying with money doesn't mean they're not paying with time and attention, right? And so it's the same process for doing both, right? Don't fall into the trap like I have in the past of going, oh, well, I'm not asking for money for it, so that should mean it'll be easy to get people to come along to an event, even if it's just an hour long, right? No, 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 my friends. Trust me, past Tiff has tried that one. The whole, I won't put any money on it, so, I won't be really rejected. Or if I put money on it, people will definitely say no, so I'll make it free. And that's how my ego will feel better. No, no, no. It is the exact same process that you go through to launch something free as you do to launch something with money. And that's usually why most of us go, well, I'm not doing that again. Let's put money on. However, this is a particular thing that I'm building, Brave Coffee Connections. It is something that I want to create a community and a network and just like real connections. Like, when you go along to those calls and it's like, oh, networking, and everybody sits there and they're just like looking at their watch, waiting for their turn to speak, and then they get there and it's their turn to speak and nobody's really listening, and it's like, oh yeah, let's do the coffee chats or that kind of thing, but it doesn't lead to anything more than maybe oh, let's go live on each other's channels and then done, as opposed to something I want to do, which is just create sort of real quality connections of, hey, let's just talk about something a little bit deeper. Let's share a little bit more of ourselves, but without this surface level, oh, what are you selling? Oh, here's what I'm selling. Oh, great. Oh, I'll refer people to you, but you never do, and they never refer back because there's no real relationship there. That's what I'm building and doing something different, and I'm really enjoying it. And partly because I just really wanted that kind of connection for myself. All of my networking opportunities just kind of all closed their doors around the same time, and I was like, I need some interaction with people, even like just over Zoom, right? Because in my small town, don't really have too many people where I can like, oh, let's just go for coffee or something like that. Everybody's busy, families, careers, 9 to 5 jobs in some cases, right? So yeah, this is I guess I just want to share about this for anybody who is doing this kind of thing, and kind of want to share how it went, the things that I went through, the mindset hurdles that I had to kind of go through. And I also want to share that this was not my first time trying to build a community around my business. Okay. This is about the fifth time lucky. So I guess I wanted to share that for the people who kind of could maybe see my situation and be like, oh, it's easy for her, or overnight success. And and then some people will be like, oh, that's not successful at all. I'd be too humiliated to share those results. It was me, right? And yeah, like, I guess, this is my story. I used to be a lot more introverted. I tried to run groups for introverts and they didn't want a bar of it, right? So, so I guess I just want to share this journey because I think it's the kind of story I would have wanted to hear, especially after my first couple of rounds of trying to do communities, and I'll share a little bit of some insights into that. Although that whole creating communities for introverts is a bit of a teaser, kind of give you a bit of sort of an interest on that sort of thing. So yeah, have I explained for anybody who doesn't know, Brave Coffee Connections is this networking event, and it's sort of this mixture where you don't come in and go, oh, here's who I am and here's what I'm selling and that kind of stuff. We come in, like, I start with a story to kind of get people in the mood for the particular theme of the month. And at the time of recording, it's going to be clarity and simplicity. Last month was bravery. And then there's like, we start with a question, powerful question to get you thinking, and you get a couple of minutes to form your thoughts. And then you go into this small group with up to 4 people and get to chat back and forth. And it's like, oh, here's what I was thinking about that topic. Oh, here's what I was thinking. Oh, that's amazing. Have you thought of this? Or, oh, wow, and all of this good stuff. The people who came along in September said, everybody in both of my groups, because we do 2 rounds of this with 2 different questions. Somebody said, everybody in my group's got an aha moment. Everybody came out with a bravery thing to do. And, like they turned around and said, oh, I'm going to commit to doing this brave thing in October. And we did kind of like a visualization at the end so that everybody kind of felt like that, like felt calm about everything and could sort of see themselves in their success ahead of time, which is something that I love to do to kind of get the subconscious on board as well. And yeah, like it was so awesome. I was flying high for like a week afterwards, and everything felt easier in my business just after having that connection with other people who like get it, right? And that's just from the actual conversations themselves. In mine, like I accidentally pre-sold copies of a book that I haven't written yet, and that's a whole other story. But yeah, like that's kind of what Brave Connections is, and there's a couple of different time zones for people around the world, and I'm thinking about adding in a third time zone for Europe. Real conversations, real connections, and just that extra level of depth that is hard to find unless you're like in a paid community. And at the moment, it's once a month and it's free. And perhaps at some point there might be like a paid version for extra stuff for those people. But I kind of always want to make sure that this base connection thing is free, right? And that kind of lines up with other networking events, although mine is a different hybrid, and it all the feedback was amazing. So that's what it is. Let me talk to you about having a community around your business and why I feel that that is valuable, right? Because of that whole, like, people do business with people who they know, like, and trust. And having that, like, having some sort of community just helps build that trust and connection points and that kind of thing. And I actually am really enjoying stepping into kind of like perhaps a different role where it's like I'm not necessarily a coach, but I help connect people with each other. And even perhaps, at some point, like maybe I'll do more writing books and speaking or something. That's a side thing. But having a community of just people around your business, I think it just really helps when you've got something to launch, like, and they don't all necessarily, like, majority of people are going to say no to working with you. Like, that's how it works, right? However, just having that community and people who can refer you, that kind of thing, I've been in some amazing ones in the last couple of years, and I've made amazing connections with people where we've stayed in each other's like business lives, like, and like business besties. Like, I remember at one point I'd hear people talk about business besties, and I'd be like, how do you get one of those? Like, you can't just walk up to someone in Instagram and be like, hey, want to be my business bestie? Like, you get that through being in like online courses that you pay for or in memberships or things like that, right? And yeah, and even then, I found it hard to find people to be in those sorts of situations with, and I ended up in some that just didn't make me feel good, and like we just weren't quite aligned on some things, and so yeah, like it just, I don't know. Since I started the podcast, and then I found these ways to connect with people. And it just led to me being able to be guests on podcasts, be speakers at virtual summits and events, so be a speaker, virtual summits and events, and just like all these other opportunities have opened up, right? At one point, there was talk about an actual event that was going to be in person that I might get to speak at, which would have been awesome, but doesn't look like that's going to pan out just yet. But you never know, like all of that kind of stuff could come about. And it's helped me find people like find a potential publisher already and find, like people for book stuff and book coaches and things like that. And yeah, I'm very excited about all of those things. And it's awesome to have that community feel. Like I live in a small town, and I just like there are other business owners, but most of them have physical businesses. The times when I've found people who had other businesses, like they weren't interested in friendship, they just wanted to sell me stuff. And that's like, and I get that on one level, but yeah, like it's like, oh, don't talk to me for 2 years, and then like, oh, hey, by the way, I've got this thing. And it's, I don't know, just didn't align with me quite that way. And I'm not saying, we've all been there. It's like, hey, it's been a few months, want to come to Brave Coffee Connections? I did that too. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. That in-person thing, it's like, oh, the expectations are different, right? Anyway, so that's what I wanted to create. So yeah, I just always wanted those places to hang out because I don't have them in my real life, and people are like, you can go and make them. And I'm like, this is a small town. It just things are different here. Everybody's tracking things and talking about everyone and all that kind of stuff. And I just like, I want to like I want to hang out with people who want to talk about big ideas and fun concepts and business stuff. I don't want to talk about what Sally did last week at this particular outing where she was rude or somebody's like, I don't know, like just, want to talk about ideas, not people. And anyway, so I wanted that connection and to have that kind of community around my business. I just think it really does lead to opportunities and clients and referrals. It's done all of that too. So yeah. And it's, I don't want to have to like go back to an office job just so I have that feeling of connection. Right. So this is my thing. I'm building the thing that I need. Okay, so my past attempts, the failures, and when I say like this is my fifth time lucky, I don't know if it's exactly 5 times. Like, after you fail a few times, you don't keep counting. Okay, but my first thing was I wanted to help introverts with video. Me at the time identifying myself as an introvert and like getting brave enough to do video, and I did video bravery, right? Bravery's always been a thing of mine. And yeah, like I had this group, nobody posted, nobody came. Like, I mean, a couple of people came, the one person who was really interacted in the group and did some stuff, she was really extroverted, but like everything else was just crickets and silence. So yeah, and at the time, I just my mindset was like, oh, this isn't working. Let's leave it. Then there was a free marketing group that I did a year or something later. I invited 20 people who I had met in groups, and we'd been in like other memberships and things together. And people were like, oh, yeah, sure, no worries. And I invited some people, gave them free access to this like membership for marketing, and nobody logged in, right? That whole, like I said before, just because you offer something for free doesn't mean people are really going to invest. Like they have to invest time and attention. And yeah, it's not always about the money, right? So you're either selling something with money or time and attention and a combination of both sometimes, right? Let me take a quick break from today's episode to invite you to something special I've created for you. It's called Brave Coffee Connections. This is a free monthly Zoom gathering for coaches and service-based business owners. It's not another awkward networking event. Instead, it's about creating genuine connections that can lead to collaborations, referrals, and even new clients. Here's how it works. We start with a powerful question to spark brave moves in your business. You'll reflect for a few minutes, then connect with like-minded coaches and service providers in a breakout room to share and be inspired. We do 2 rounds so you meet different people and get fresh perspectives. Then we end with a short visualization to wire your brain for success. And each of us commits to one brave action for the month ahead. Every month we focus on a different theme like bravery, money, or visibility. And it's all about connecting on a deeper level without the pressure or the pitch. You can grab your free spot at tiffanyGstudios.com/connections. That's TIFFANY G for golf, studios.com/connections. I look forward to seeing you there. Some other things that I did, I had some like pop-up groups for launches because after that failure with the marketing, I was like, oh, okay, this just isn't for me. Like that idea of like, oh, I just need to be this person who is just better and so much more extroverted and so much more charismatic and kind of like that whole, I can lead a community and a movement, that type of stuff. I just thought it's not for me. That's not what people want from me. It's one of the things I often used to tell myself. Just like, hey, that's great. People love it, but they don't want it from me. Right? So I did some pop-up groups for launches and some were okay, but and some of them like had 5 people, 2 people showed up on calls, but both of those 2 people ended up being high ticket clients in the next month. So like there was levels of success, right? However, nothing that whole the membership dream. I don't know, the thing that I really like the membership, the connected community of some kind, right? Definitely the dream. Like I studied in Tribe to learn how to build a membership. I went over to Canada to like Tribe Live in 2019 and was there with everybody. It's like, yeah, let's build our memberships and everything. And it just trying to get things off the ground. So every time felt like proof that I'm just not cut out for this. I'm not that kind of person. People don't want that from me. But this whole recent situation and starting a podcast has been amazing. It's grown my skills. Dealing with people more online has built those kinds of interpersonal skills as well. And dealing with the bravery and removing a lot of the overthinking and that kind of stuff has really helped as well. And I think just everything has just been helping me to build these skills. I was in a membership group and the head of the membership was going away and I said, "Oh, hey, I'm happy to stand in for like the later Australian time." And so yeah, like she kind of gave me a here's how calls need to run. And I did that and it was very similar to what I've built in Brave Coffee Connections. It was a little bit different, but similar with that whole here's a couple of questions and think about this and then let's chat about it and that kind of stuff. And it was just such a fun experience and I realized that doing this kind of stuff, and I did know this before, but I was too much in my head of, oh, what are people going to think? I'm going to say the wrong thing, as opposed to being focused on others. This is where everything has shifted. Being focused on the experience of other people. And it's like making sure they have fun and have an experience.
And that's something that I have struggled to do in Zoom environments, like in face to face, in when I've had to lead training seminars and things like that. You can feel the energy and you can feel when people are with you and that kind of stuff. Sometimes in Zoom environments, yeah, haven't necessarily stepped up to the plate and really got that. But I feel like I've really done that with Brave Coffee Connections, and it really paid off of just, giving people value and connection and an amazing experience and feeling good afterwards and just all of those kinds of things. And yeah, like I guess I had to go through all of those failures to become the right person at the right time with the right setup and offer, if you will, like this Brave Coffee Connections thing. And I wanted to share that for anybody who's on that road. People think that, like, it's like this, you're at it like a T intersection and failure is off to the left, success is off to the right. But actually, no, they're both in the same direction. And it's the failures on the way to success that can help you. And just so you know, I mean, it's not like I had 500 people at this thing, but I had 16 people sign up in September. I had 11 people show up out of 16, which is amazing, right? For October already, it's the 10th of October when I'm recording this, and we've already had 13 people sign up, a lot of them returning from last month, which is amazing. I had 8 people book on the same day as September to book in for October. I had 8 people sign up straight away. So those are some like great things that haven't always happened for me in the past. And those were things that, like I said, I just sort of told myself, oh, I'm not that kind of person. But this time around, I really shifted into, I just, I'm leading with connection. And I think people have really gone, yes, I want to feel connected too. I don't, so yeah, anyway, for those of you who are on the path, and like this is what I would have loved to have told myself back in 2020. I think when I did the video Bravery, it was like 2018. And I just I'm saying, like, hey, this feels like it's a failure, but it's really not. It's just, this is a lesson and it's helping you to become the person you need to be. And it sucks right now, but your success is in the future. It's coming. And I guess I just want to share that with anyone, because I don't want anyone to look at me and be like, overnight success, isn't she lucky? Isn't she amazing? All the things I used to say to myself. And yeah, I guess I just want you to know about that. And I also want to say that from a behind the scenes perspective of building this, it felt different from the very moment of conception. So I wasn't in a space of, oh, I wonder, like, if enough people say yes, then I'll feel good about myself. It was no, like, I feel worthy no matter what happens, right? It was one shift that I've had to make for everything that I do these days, right? And I also had this thing of, like, just this sort of delusional confidence, right? My friend Maggie, who runs the Chaos to Clarity podcast, has this episode on delusion and how, like, you need to nearly be like delusionally confident in, like, this is what I'm creating. Like on all those like bios of famous business owners. And I know it's probably done up for business for the movie side of it and the story, but it's always like the delusional inventor or the delusional business owner. Like, all of them have this thing where everybody tries to tell them, no, no, it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And they're just like, yes, it is. This is happening. And, like, you might not be seeing it right now. And, it takes years, but it's like a montage of 30 seconds in the movie, right? Like, if you look at Joy, what are the other movies that I'm thinking of? I wasn't planning to go on this diversion, so I didn't look this up. But just look at those ones with business owners. I mean, I know it's a thing for story, but you know that it happens because we're going through it. We have that choice of, like, okay, are we going to keep listening to the no's? Like, what about the story about J.K. Rowling? And I know she is politically not great these days, but there's always the story about she got told no by 100 different publishers before she finally got a yes and then became huge, right? Like, those are the stories that used to really fuel me. And I used to get stuck in that, okay, but where's my hints of success? And it's like, okay, I had to do inner work and feel worthy and do all that kind of stuff first. And now I'm starting to see that in the outside and also do the visualization so that my body feels safe. For me, one of my things has been fear of success that I really have to work on. It's like, oh, that next level, what if I can't handle it? What if I let people down? What if I lose it all? The body feels safer to just, here's what we can handle. And so, yeah, and that even comes out in how many eyeballs and how many people in a call. I forgot to say one of the other groups I ran was the podcast accountability group. And that was one that at first had, 8 or 10 people at first. And with that, I was always too scared to do the breakout room thing because I was like, oh no, then like not everyone will get to like I thought the connection wouldn't be as much. And then I tried it for this, like even in the first session, I was like, guys, I know how to start a breakout room. I don't know how to close one because I couldn't practice this. So let's all dive in this together, right? And yeah, like even those kinds of things of just being like, I don't have everything perfect, but we're doing this. And some people said it was great to see you model that. I'm like, yeah, I can model imperfection and muddling through. That is my thing. So why this time worked well? It wasn't about money or numbers necessarily. It was about connection and bravery. And it's like at one point I had a wobble. I was like, oh, what if everybody says no? Especially when I got to that point in the people I wanted to reach out to, the people who I don't have as strong a connection with, the lower people on the list. And I'm not saying they are lower, but we all have them, right? The people who like, oh, we haven't spoke to in months, and some of those were amazing to reactivate and everything, but I did have a wobble of like, oh, there's probably going to be more no's. I don't want to feel that. And yet I had to do this reframe of, hey, this is just information. We're going forward. We have something amazing. It's going to create connection and people are going to love it. We need to let people know. And yeah, just coming from that energy was amazing. And not the energy of like, oh, I need you to say yes so that you can prove something about me. It was, oh, I'm super excited to give you this opportunity to have connection and meet amazing people and just build your business and create opportunities. Yeah. So some of you might remember in the past I've talked about stress-free launching. It really was a stress-free launch. Like I had fun doing all of the activities. Like I had wobbles and I had to do some visualizations, but I would clear those in 5 or 10 minutes and then I would get back into doing all of the cool fun stuff. And I just really, really enjoyed it. It was so much fun. So some of the cool things, like I get to be with running this group, I get to be like my weird wacky self a little bit more and a little less of the coach or the marketing consultant who has all the answers. And I really, really enjoyed that process. And I really love being able to show up as me. And you'll see that more in my content a bit more as I've been sharing about that. So yeah, the feedback was everything. And that whole I feel braver now, all of that kind of stuff. I'm going through my notes and I've completely just been riffing off the top of my head. So I know I've covered some of this stuff. I definitely showed up as my best self. I was nervous but grounded, right? And I shared that story about the breakout rooms and just yeah, that whole not quite knowing how it was going to work, but just being brave enough to try was awesome. So yeah, I have covered all that. Let me get into the takeaway. So yeah, it's really interesting. I thought I was building a community event, but really it was building me into the kind of person who could hold it, right? And I just want to reiterate to anybody who's in that messy middle on, going through the failures on the way to success, it is preparing you for your breakthrough. Don't forget to be like the other crazy delusional founders. Check out Maggie's episode. I will try and link it in the show notes about being like sort of like this delusional confidence in who you are and how you help people. Just the from an energy manifestation part, it really works. Also from a just people respond to confidence, right? And if you've had some failures in the past, you're not starting over each time, you're building that mastery. So keep showing up, keep experimenting. And if you want to know more about Brave Coffee Connections, right, they're happening at the end of each month. The dates and times will vary a little bit, but you can check out, I have a link, tiffanygstudios.com/connections. So TIFFANYG for golf, STUDIOS.com/connections. And you can check that out. You can find the link over on Instagram. I'm sure it'll be in the show notes and my blog. If you come to my website, there's a pop-up. I'm telling everybody. Right? And like, yeah, if you're interested to join us and just get more of those amazing connections and just really just that like deeper relationships that can help make business feel fun again, right? That was one of the things, like this has really helped me feel like have this sense of fun and enjoyment in my business again. Okay, so I hope that this inspired those of you who are in the messy middle. And if this hit you in certain ways, or I want to say vibed with you, or what's a good way? Like if this connected with you in any way, please reach out and come and find me over on Instagram at Tiffany G Studios. And yeah, just chat with me. I'd love to hear like your thoughts and what you're working on so I can help cheer you on, shout it out, whatever. Just, and if you want to meet more people from our community, then come along to Brave Copy Connections and meet some awesome people and chat about just, slightly deeper stuff. The what are you selling and what am I selling and all that sort of stuff and get that feeling of connection back, then that'd be awesome. All right. Thank you so much for listening. That's it from me. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening today. If you're ready to grow through deeper connections, join me for Brave Coffee Connections. It's my free monthly Zoom call for coaches and service providers. No pitches, just real conversations that spark collaborations, referrals, and new clients. Plus, you'll leave with clarity, inspiration, and one brave action for the month ahead. Save your free spot at tiffanyGstudios.com/connections. That's TIFFANYG for golf, STUDIOS.com/connections. I can't wait to see you there.